Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on the final part to our Rastaman Vibrations poncho. Yay! Very exciting. Okay, and that final part is these last few rows there and the 2 rows for your border. Alright, now I actually did a certain amount of rows here and I said that's how much I've done for my size or for the measurement that I wanted. You head off on your own and do the measurement that you wanted. However, I forgot to mention that because the further you go down, the more stitches it is. So what's going to happen here is your stitch count might be different than mine. Just remember when you're doing the border, I do mention it in the middle of the tutorial. When you're doing the 2 rows, the last 2 rows of border, you need to have a count of 9 across. This set is 9, 9, 9 and 9. All right, so get your count of 9 to about here. If you find that you've got about 6 single crochets left, do them single crochet. If you've got 3, do the 3. If you've got 7, do 7. Don't try and push in another one of these points too close to the front because it does lift up even a little bit there. It does need a washing and a blocking and that'll flatten out with the washing and blocking. If you are following exactly the same as I did, don't worry about counting because I've done that for you. Okay, so if you've got the same amount of rows, once you finish this, you know, these little set right here, the same amount of rows that I've done, then just continue on with the way I've done it and you don't need to worry about count as much. You still need to count to make sure your count is right, but yeah, that's, you know, part of it really, guys. Counting is a part of crochet. Sorry, I had to disappoint. All right, so the border, what do we need? You need obviously the same hook you use to make your poncho. You need your needle, you need 3, 5, however stitch markers you like. You'll need a few more in this particular part of the tutorial, and you will need some scissors. You'll need your colors. We are working with some of the colors. Now that's the pink, that's my favorite green throughout the whole series, which is the reason why I did it as the border row. Partly the reason. The other reason was, hello, yarn chicken with the cream, and I knew I wasn't going to make the border. Okay, so what I've decided to do, I did mine in green. You can actually use your, that's pink by the way. You can actually use your cream if you like. If you get nice and close, you can see the colors better. There you go. So you've got your dark green, your cream, your unusual color green, your leafy color green, your pink, your cream. Cream rows are in between all those double crochet rows that you see, except for when we get here and you do a row of that color there. It's just to close up the pattern. All right, so if you notice, I do different sets to close up each pattern set. All right, so there you go. Look, what can I say about it? It was a little bit tricky. The last row was okay. Second last row, very tricky for me, and I had to really concentrate. And that's just because I needed to concentrate on count, not so much concentrate on the pattern, but on the count. And to me, the counting, it was just all over the place. So there you go, guys. The easiest part of the whole tutorial was that set right there. It's quick and easy. You fly through that, trust me. This part, a little bit tricky, but you know what? You can do it. I have faith in you. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and good luck making the border rows to your Rastaman Vibrations poncho. Good luck, guys. Alrighty guys, where I left you off last time, you would have a little stitch marker on your thread. If not, we'll talk in a moment. The biggest decision you need to make is what colors do I want the last few rows of my work to be. Now I'm trying to follow, let's see if I can bring that out. Oh, that's better. I'm trying to follow in a pattern like this. We're not doing granny squares at all, okay? But the color combination pattern. I've done a whole lot of cream, as you know, and right in the beginning we did a whole lot of color. I want to do that towards the end for 2 reasons. One, I'm running out of cream, okay? But also because I wanted it to kind of match. It's almost like I did here with the mirror image when we did that part and we repeated it and we did the mirror image. I want to do the same thing. I want to do that as a mirror image, not in granny square look, but in color look. All right, so your decision now is what colors do I want my last 5, 10, 20, I don't know how many rows you want to do. You probably wouldn't need to do that many, but anyway, my last few rows, okay? These next 2 rows are the pattern until you get to the desired length that you like. Then we'll have border rows, okay? In reference to the border, that will be roughly 2 centimeters, 3, I haven't really decided, but you're looking at about 1.5 inches or 3 centimeters roughly. All right, so consider your 3 centimeters. Do the next few rows until you get to just before your 3 centimeters. So leave yourself an extra 3 centimeters for your border rows, okay? So in the meantime, we are going to get started with the color of your choice. I'm choosing cream, okay? Now this is where we ended off. We slip stitch to join, if you remember correctly. Now I cut my thread, so I've got to be careful not to pull it out too much. Okay, I'm actually just going to take that slip stitch undone. All right, so we're going to pop our hook back in our last stitch right there. Drop the green, pop the hook back in that stitch, and get a nice close up. Grab your new color, pull it through to the stitch, and then pull it through to the loop on your hook. Okay, now you remember how to do all this. You just give everything a big tug. So you grab the last green and the tail of your cream right there. If you wanted to work over that tail, you can, but we are going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is, because our calculations, the way I've calculated, I need to slip stitch over to our very next stitch so that it all marries up at the end. So we are slip stitching into the next stitch like so, slip stitching. Okay, now you got to remember at the end that that is a stitch right there. Okay, in the meantime, tighten it up, chain 1. Yes, nice tight stitch there. Single crochet in the same stitch that you are in. Grab your stitch marker, really important to grab that stitch marker. All right. Okay, oh, just lost my hook. Here we go. Get it right, Mary. All right, so now we are chaining 2, 1 and 2. We are skipping 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and we are jumping into the 3rd with a single crochet. Chain 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and you guessed it, single crochet in the 3rd. Chain 1, 2, skip 2, single crochet in the 3rd. All right, so this is all this row is. Super simple. 1, 2, 1, 2, and jump into your 3rd. All right, so I'm not going to sit here because it's going to be a very long tutorial today, guys, sorry. So what I'm going to do is just get you to do that all the way over to your very first corner and just count 1, 2, and then on that 3rd stitch, I'm sorry, it's so far away, I'll do that again, sorry. Get to your first corner, count 1 stitch, 2 stitches, jump into that 3rd for now. All right, so what I want you to do your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, skip 2, jump into the 3rd, all the way until you get to that stitch marker, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty, now if you did your numbers and your figures right, you should have 2 before that stitch marker. If you don't stress, just go 1, 2, whoops. So you go 1, 2, jump into your 3rd, with a single crochet. Now you should have 1, 2 left before your corner. If you don't, if you only have 1, doesn't matter, just do this part. If you have 3, doesn't matter, just do this part. Or just check if you went wrong along here somewhere. You may have skipped a stitch, okay? But for the way we all ended up in our last tutorial, we should all be at this step, okay? So don't stress if you're not, fudge it if you need to. 1, 2, we are skipping 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, we are jumping into that corner, yes? And we are chaining 2, 1, 2. We're doing another single crochet in that corner, okay? Chain 1, 2, and now we're going to jump out of the corner, skipping 1, 2, so that's a stitch right there, being careful not to miss it. So 1, 2, we're going to jump into that one right there with our single crochet. All right, now we are chaining 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 2, and jumping into your next with a single crochet. Now you know how to do the rest. 1, 2, jump into your next with the single crochet. All right, so lift that up. Okay, that's your corner. All right, now what I want you to do, easy, jump straight into that very next corner, or at least the last few stitches before, let's just say 1, 2, and pop it in that third one. Oh, it's too far away, isn't it? Sorry, guys. So let's go 1, 2, and popping it in your third one. All right, and get to that stitch marker, go all the way down that side, get to that stitch marker, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty, I'm at the end of this side as well. Now, if you played your cards right, you should actually go 1, 2, and then jump into your third. Again, if yours doesn't match up, it means you've missed a count, okay? You can go back and check, or you can fudge it. And it can be fudged, it's not a problem. 1, 2, jump into your third, okay? And then you just go 1, 2, and you're jumping straight into that corner. So you go 1, 2, and into your third. Straight into the corner with a single crochet. Sorry guys, is that too far? My apologies. All right, so now you are chaining 2, 1, 2, straight back into the center with your single crochet. All right, chain 1 and 2. Now you are skipping that stitch right there, okay? 1, 2, jump into your third with your single crochet. Chain 1, 2, oops, is that up a bit? Skip 1, 2, and jump into the third, and so on. 1, 2, skip 1, 2, and you're into the third. All right, so now what I want you to do, very basic, is to continue in that manner, get to your stitch marker right there, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, there's only 1 green left. What am I going to do? I need 2. Well, of course, if you remember correctly, we slip stitched into the second green. So you've actually got 1, 2, and then you are slip stitching into your third. So pop your hook in, and what I want you to do is actually slip stitch into it. Pull it through, okay? Then pull up a loop and give it a cut. And the reason being is because your next round, you will be starting your cream up the top of your double crochet. So the length will be really long, all right? So you need to take your stitch marker out of here at the moment, okay? Now, what you've got is these spaces all the way along. Big, big, gappy spaces. Now, this is where we're doing our next row. Our next row will be worked only in the spaces. Very simple row. Okay, and both the rows are very simple, basic rows in crochet. All right, so that's where we ended off. Okay, you don't have to do this. I'm just starting right in that very first space, right next to where we ended off. It doesn't matter now. Pull your thread through. You're going through the space, pull your thread through the space. Okay, grabbing your little tail, just bringing it forward so that you can lock it all into place. Sorry, that was out of frame there. Just bring your tail forward so you can lock it into place. Chaining 1, 2, and 3. Don't do that third chain too tight or we can't work into it. Pop your stitch marker through that third chain. All right, easy so far. And you're putting 1 double crochet in the same space. Super easy. Grab that tail, passing it at the back. Now all you're doing is jumping into every space you see with 2 double crochets. That is it, guys. Seriously, that is the whole row. I'm not kidding. It is as basic as that. So 2 double crochets in the space. All right, there are other versions of this. You could actually do the 2 double crochets in each lower stitch like that if you wanted to. I'm not going to for this, but I'll show you anyway so you can see what it looks like. And that's the look you're getting. It's closing up. Now I'm not going to do that. That's not what I want, because we don't have a fairly closed poncho. It's relatively open, relatively spacey if you will. So just keep popping your 2 double crochets. Super easy this row, and I mean super easy. Keep doing that, and let's pop a stitch marker in the corner, and then we shall meet up in that corner. All right, so your very first corner you come to, see that big space just before the corner, pop your stitch marker in there, head off on your own, finish that side. Meet me there and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Let's take that stitch marker out. It's not the row, it's the end of the side. Alright, so yarn over your hook, pop your 2 double crochets in that space. Yes. Then you hop into your corner space right there with easy 2 double crochets. Whoops, in the corner space, not in the stitch. Chain 1 and 2 and 2 double crochets. Did I mention these next 2 rows were easy? I did, didn't I? Pretty sure I did. And then you just jump out of the corner into your first space with 2 double crochets. Simple as. I know. I love doing this stitch. I do it all the time when it comes to corner pieces. So there you go, just corner to corner borders, if you will, because they tend to look nice with basic straight edged borders. So there you go, a little bit of trivia there. So just 2 double crochets, as you can see, in every space all the way across. And guess what? You actually know how to do your corner. I'm going to turn this around so you can have a look at the corner face on. So you know what you're looking at and you know whether you've doubled up or whatever. Notice how it lays nice and flat. It doesn't bubble, it doesn't turn in. It lays nice and flat. All right, easy, easy, easy. You don't even need me to do that next corner. So I'll tell you what you're going to do. I know, right? You're thinking, what? Yeah, you're going to do it on your own. You're going to do this whole row all the way to that corner. Right there, you're going to repeat the corner as you saw. In fact, pop your stitch marker, if it helps you, pop your first stitch marker in that very last space. And that will remind you when you get to that very last space, just re-watch that section of the video where I did it. You'll know once you get to that space what you need to do. Then continue along all the way until you get to your very next stitch marker. Super easy. Do that and I shall meet you up in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now I have one last space to go there. What I want you to do is, you don't need to, okay, whoops, let me move that green if you don't want to, but I always grab the tail end of the last end we worked with and I crochet over it. You don't need to, but you're going to be putting your 2 double crochets in there anyway, so you may as well crochet over it, okay? We're still going to weave that in later as well. All right, now for this part here, you are popping your hook in your stitch marker, pulling your green through. Pull it through to the loop on your hook, make a knot and pull up your thread. We're going to change colours yet again. If you want to continue to use this colour, still cut anyway, and I'll tell you why in a minute. All right, let's take that stitch marker out anyway. Okay, so where we ended up was in that stitch. For our next round, our single crochets have to go in the spaces of your stitch. So if you were to put your single crochet there, you would be out of the space. So you would have to slip stitch across, okay, all the time. That's okay, but if you look carefully at our first one, you can actually see a little white stitch there. I don't want that noticed, okay? So it just means a little bit extra weaving, but you know, you're not doing a lot of these rows. You're just doing enough to give yourself some length. Now, again, you can start wherever you like. I'm still going to start in the same space, which I don't usually like to, right where the thread was, but I'll do it anyway for now. Grab your cream. You're going to use your cream again. And you're putting it in the space, like we did in our first cream row. Pass your little thread over, chaining 1 and single crochet in the same space. All right, now you can pop that thread at the back now if you like, and guess what you're doing? Exactly what you did in your very first cream row, except now it's super easy because you don't even have to count if you don't want to. You just chain your 2, 1 and 2, and you jump into the space between your cluster sets. So there you go, 1, 2, jump into the space. 1, 2, space. How super easy is that? 1, 2, space. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering what this stitch is, the actual stitch itself really calls for exactly what we're doing here, but it calls for a chain 3, and you are putting 3 double crochets in there. Okay, so it's called a block stitch or a brick stitch. Okay, now personally I like the 3. But in this poncho, I want to use 2, and I've used 2 before, as I mentioned earlier. I've used 2 before for corner to corner borders. I find 2, it gives it a nice open space because we have a lace, kind of open lace pattern here, if you look carefully. The only closed part are those single crochet rows, which is what that is going to look like once we do our next few rows. All right, so what I want you to do, and how super easy is this part, you're going to love this bit, just do exactly that. Get to your corner, get to that stitch before your corner right there. Okay, and before I say meet you up, I just want you to do me another favor. Now, where we first did our very first single crochet row today, guys, okay, right here, that's our green double crochets. That's our now single crochet rows. It's our green double crochets. This was our first single crochet row. What I want you to do, just in any stitch, it doesn't have to be the first one, just go around that first stitch of our single crochet row, like that with your stitch marker. This is your third stitch marker, all right? That's going to help us later when we're ready to measure. But for now, just continue along in this manner. Whoops, let me bring that out. Get to the first corner and I shall meet you up. Super easy row, huh, guys? And quick, very quick, yeah? It's getting a lot quicker with these easy stitches. Now I've popped my single crochet in that space just before the corner, all right? So guess what you're doing? You're chaining 1 and 2, jumping straight into the corner with your single crochet, 1, 2, another single crochet, 1, 2, jump into your next space. Did I not say these rows were going to be super easy? I'm sure I mentioned it a gazillion times. 1, 2, super easy. 1, 2. I left the easy rows for the end of our 1, 2 poncho, just so that you can get through these rows 1, 2 very quickly, and we can head on to the border. Okay, so what I would like for you to do is to continue in that manner. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to do your own corner, because you know what you're doing now. So pop that stitch marker right in the space before your corner and do exactly what we did just now with this recording, and then meet me right, oh dear, did I not put a stitch marker? I didn't put one in there. I'm so naughty. Pop a stitch marker in there so that, well, you know, just you didn't see me forget to do that, right? Pop a stitch marker in there and I shall meet you up at that stitch marker right there. Good luck, guys. Alrighty, guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now I've popped my last single crochet in there. Let me get a nicer close up for you, that's better. Now I'm chaining 1 and 2, and then all I'm doing is slip stitching into, oh dear, that nice tight, you know what, I'll take mine out. Mine's fairly tight. So I'll slip stitch into that single crochet right there. Even without the stitch marker, it's really tight. All right, there we go. So now pull up your loop and give your work a cut, and that row's done again. Now, best bit, guys. See this double crochet row and this single crochet row? You are repeating those 2 rows over and over and over and over. Did I exaggerate a bit? Sorry, guys. Until you get to the desired length. How do we determine our length? All right. When you get to your length for starters, I need you to end up on this particular row right here. So how you measure how big you want yours to be. Now I'm going to try mine on in a minute in front of the stand, and we're all going to do that together. You just grab your measuring tape. Oh, where is that one? Right there. Right there. All right. See that where the blue stitch marker is? You are actually measuring from that double crochet. Okay, so you're measuring from that marker, the double crochet, to there. So you're looking about, it's roughly 1.5 centimeters, or maybe even 2 centimeters, depending on how you crochet, which would make that just under 1 inch. All right, so let's go to the stand and I'll talk about how you measure your length. Alrighty, guys, I know I'm a little bit far away, but this is just to show you where I'm having my length. Okay, so see my elbows there? I'll get nice and close and show you. I still want those covered. So let's get close up and I'll show you. Oh, I'll show you where the marker is. Oh, was the marker gone? It's there somewhere. There it is, right there. All right, so I want that to go just beneath my elbows. So I reckon I'll do 2 sets, okay? But when I say 2 sets, it's a row of that double crochet and that single crochet row. So it's the 2 rows, okay? So you're measuring from there to there. Okay, I'm going to go like there to there. When you're working with elbows, in any dressmaking course will teach you this as well. When you're working with clothes and you want to measure from one side of your hand all the way to the other side, you work like that. You bring your arms in. So when you're measuring it like that. If you don't, and you make it this short, when you pull your sleeves up, it'll come that short. That's only if you're working on shirts. But same thing for the poncho, because not for you, but for me, I want mine under my elbow. I want that all covered up. So I would probably need 2 more sets of that. Okay, right there. That's my measurement to there. It doesn't have to cover the elbow completely, but just to there. And that works out to be about, let me show you, about, whoops, 4 centimeters. So 4 centimeters, and 4 centimeters is roughly 1.5 inches. Okay, so that's all I need. I'm looking at 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches, and my measurement from my cream and the green is 1.5 centimeters. If I had to do another 1.5, it's about 3 centimeters. So I'm just going to do, let's see, there's 1, hang on, what do we say? 1.5. Hello, Mary, wake up. There's 1 set, another 1.5 will be roughly 4.5 centimeters or roughly 2 inches. That is what I want, okay? You need to decide yourself how long you want yours to be. If you want yours to just sit like this now, and all you want to do is the border, stick around in a few seconds time and we will start our border. Yours truly is going to do 2 more sets of this in 2 different colors. I'll show you the colors in a moment. Then you can head off on your own for those of you who want to extend your poncho and use similar colors, or you can go ahead and use your own colors. Alrighty, so let's head off to the workstation and we can talk about different colors that you would like to use, okay? I hope that kind of made sense for length. All right, so what I'm going to do is explain it to you nice and close so you can see it. I just wanted you to see it on me so that you can work out how long you wanted yours to be. Now, like I said, I wanted mine to be just past my elbow, which would mean another 4 centimeters or another inch, what is it? Nearly 1.5 inches worth more than what was there. So I'll need to do, and I've calculated that it's a good 2 sets. So there's your first set, there. Move it up a bit, and there's your second set. It goes a little bit more than 4, which is okay. I don't mind it being a little bit longer than a little bit shorter. All right, it's a tiny little bit more. So I'm going to be doing, and I'll explain to you in a moment, get that out of the way, 2 of these and 2 of these, but not the same color. My next color will be pink. Bring that out. Then I'll have cream. So it'll be pink, cream, green, and on the very last row I will have the cream again. All right, so that's what we're doing now. That's what I'm doing now. Okay, so what I want you to do, just so that we're all on the same wavelength, you probably don't need that stitch marker anymore if you're happy with it. I'm going to leave it there to see how much more the 2 sets take. You know, it should be exactly the same as what we just measured. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just show you, by the way, you may have noticed, I've been weaving in all of my ends as I've gone along now. The only 2 ends I have is the last, or 3 ends I have, is the last 3 that I've worked on in these last 2 rows there. All right. So what I want you to do is continue your pattern, and I want you weaving in those ends as well. However, for safety purposes, leave them until you get to the second row. So like do that, then do this row, and then you weave in that one, okay? Because you may have made a mistake and you may need to take it undone. You might have put 1 chain here, 4 chains there. It can happen, you know, and it's, you might want to fix it. But if you've weaved in all these ends, you're not going to be able to. So what you do is always do the set first before you weave in the last one. Like now I will do a row of double crochets here, then I will weave in the green. Then I'll do a row of single crochets, double crochets in the next, and then I will weave in this cream. All right, so where do you start from, I hear you ask? Just from your last area. See, there's your threads. So just find the space right near those threads, pop your hook in, grab your new color. Now this is a pink and it's not the cream, so don't confuse it with the cream, but you can use whatever color you like, passing your pink over. And you're single crocheting try chain 1, wake up Mary, chain 2 and chain 3, grabbing your stitch marker and popping it in the top of that third chain we just did, right there. Try not to make that stitch too tight. Yarn over, and you're putting a double crochet in the same space, and I am crocheting over that tail for a second, and then I'm going to toss it at the back. All right, now 2 double crochets in your next space. Okay, I don't think I need to show you anymore, and you know why? Because you just have to repeat these last 2 rows, your double crochet rows and your single crochet rows, over and over again, remembering to change the colors if you wish, like I'm doing. Again, after this row I'll be using the cream, after that I'll be using the green, and then directly after that I'll be using the cream. I need you to end off on this row right here, your single crochet chain 2 row. All right, end off with that, and I shall meet you up, and good luck with your next few rows. But for everybody else, when we head off on our own now and come back, we'll be starting our border. Good luck, guys. Alrighty guys, yay. This is where I ended up. Okay, now let me grab my measuring tape. I said it'd be around 4 or 4.5 centimeters, which is just almost 2 inches. And let's get a nice close up. Whoa, move that over. All right, so there it is. From there to there, it is roughly 4.5 centimeters. See that line right there? That's your ½ centimeter. So it's almost 2 inches, which is perfect for me. Now, I did mention that there was only going to be 2 rows of the border. In actual fact, there's 3, because we are doing a base row now. And the base row will be single crocheting in your single crochets and single crocheting in your spaces as well. So what you need to do, that last stitch that you made, I just made one there. I'm going to take that out and actually, no, what we'll do, we'll actually cast off. Cut your thread to your last row, and that is if you don't want to use the cream. Now yours truly is not using the cream, so I am going to cast off the cream right there. And now you add your next color. Now your next color, if you want to add it, you can still use the cream if you like. I'm using that green right there because I want to finish off this set, because as you've noticed, I have different colors between each set. So that set has their own colors, okay, that set has their own colors there, and then this set had their own colors, remember? Now I wanted to do that set, but I'm going to use the same dark green. Again, you don't need to. You could have used the cream. You're welcome to do that as well, and you're welcome to use any other color that you like, but yours truly is using her dark green. Okay. All right. Oh, I've got bits of thread everywhere here. Oh, by the way, you would have the only threads you should have on your work right now is your green and your creams, the last 2. So now we're going to start exactly pretty much where we've been starting all along. All right, see that thread there? Ordinarily, I would jump into the space there when I'm doing my single crochets, and on the way back, I would crochet over that. That's what I've been doing all along. It doesn't matter. You can do what you like, but yours truly is going to do it that way. I find it a lot easier to start the new round that way. Again, it doesn't matter. It's choice, yeah? So you are chaining 1. Okay. So usually we chain up 3 and then we'd put a double crochet in that space. We're not going to do that for this row. We're going to put a single crochet in there, 1, and a second single crochet in there, 2. Whoops, before you continue, just grab your stitch marker and pop it in that very first single crochet right there. Okay, that's really tight, my one. So on the way back, I'm going to fight to get in, but that's all right. Now if you wanted to, because you are doing single crochets across, you can crochet over that tail a little bit. I think I might do that. No, actually I won't, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Alright, so you've put 2 single crochets in your space. You're putting a single crochet in that first single crochet. Oh, let me get a nice close up there. There. You're putting a single crochet in your first single crochet that you come to. 1. 2 in the space. 1 and 2. Whoops. 1 in the stitch. 2 in the space. 1 and 2. Alright, 1 in the stitch and 2 in the space. 1 and 2. Basic row this, 1 in the stitch and 2 in the space. Alright, so there you go. That is what you're going to do with this round. Get yourself into your very first corner. Well, actually get yourself just before the corner, that big space right there just before the corner. All right, and I shall meet you up. Okay, alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Let's take out that stitch marker. All right, now that's your corner, so don't confuse yourself. You need to make sure you have a single crochet in that last stitch right there, and you need to put 2 single crochets in the space before the corner. Yeah, 1 in the stitch before the corner, and in the corner you are putting 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then you are chaining 2, 1, 2, and 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and see that little tight stitch in there? You need to pop a single crochet in there, 2 in your space. I nearly got confused there. 1, 2, 1 in your stitch, 2 in your space, 1, 2, 1 in your stitch, and 2 in your space, and again 1 in your next stitch. Alright, so what I would like for you to do is continue in that manner all the way across. Okay, well, all the way across. I'll show you where you need to be wary about your stitch when you get to your corner. See that space there? That's the space before the corner that we just did. So you're going to do that yourself, get into that corner and do your stitches, and come back to here at your very first stitch marker, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I have my little cream tail. I'm going to pop that over there. I actually have this, oh gosh, if I can get it. I actually have this one last space left. We need to put 2 single crochets in that space, 1 and 2, whoops, and 2. Now we've got one last single crochet right there. We're going to pop our hook in and do a single crochet without collecting that stitch marker, and there you go. And that's the last single crochet. Now you are going to pop your hook in your stitch marker, grab your green, whoops, very fiddly now guys, I've got too many threads at the back, and pull a loop through, and then you just pull the loop through, give your work a cut, whoops, and pull that loop through. Take out your stitch marker and get ready for what's to come. No, don't take your stitch marker out, leave that there, okay, because this is where we're going to start our next round. Alrighty guys, get excited because we are now officially on our border rows. 2, that's all we need. 2 rows for the border, guys. Get excited. Now, biggest question you need to ask yourself is, oh, what colour am I going to use? Now, yours truly, oh, there it is. Oh, see that? Yarn Chicken. That's not going to make my 2 rows. So I am not going to use the cream, which I so wanted to use. Let's bring that up a little. I'm actually going to use that green right there, only because it is my favourite colour of the whole series. However, for yourselves, I would suggest, if you want to keep it in theme and make it look nice, I would suggest using the cream. However, it's entirely up to you. If you want to go be a little bit bold and use one of the colours that you already have, by all means, guys, do it. Because, you know, Let's live outside the box for a while. All right, so where we left off, we slip stitched into there and we left our stitch marker in, right? Take that stitch marker out, move it forward by 1. That's my stitch count. If when you did these rows you moved over this way, you moved that way, your stitch count may be out. So what you really need is 102 single crochets from this stitch marker right to the very last. So it's got to count to 102. This last stitch must reach 102 for this particular part of the tutorial. Now, this row can be a little bit tricky. It's basic stitches, right? But the actual count can be a little bit tricky. And if you are new to crochet, you may not know the difference in size of the stitches. All right, so the way you can help yourself is to use stitch markers. I'm sorry, I'm reaching over for them. To use stitch markers for this particular row. You may need 2, all right? You may not, you may be okay, but it's better to have than not to have. I hope that makes sense. Now, grab the colour of your choice, right there, my colour. Pop your hook in that stitch marker stitch, the one that you counted up to 102, okay? Roughly 102. If it's 1 stitch off, it doesn't matter. We can fluff the corner. I'd rather not, but we can. Notice how I jumped into that real quickly? Now let's pop our thread on our hook, pull a loop through and get ready for the fun stitch. Okay, pass your little thread over so you can lock it into a space. Okay, chaining 1. Nice tight chain there. Pop a single crochet in that same space. All right, and you're going to pop, obviously, your yellow stitch marker in. That just tells you that's the end. You pop a brighter colour to show you that's the end. That's my little, tip. I always pop the brightest colour at the end now. I've only just been doing that. I've been putting blues, see all the blues here? And then it just confused me. So now I put the brightest colour at the end so I know which one the end is. Little trivia there about me. All right, so what we're going to do is in our next stitch, we are going to do a half double. Now, I don't think we've done any half doubles we might have, I can't even remember now, in the project. So yarn over, pop your hook in your next space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now, as you can see, I'm crocheting over that tail. It's not necessary, but I'm doing it anyway, okay? Your next stitch is a double crochet. So yarn over, pop it in your stitch. You know how to do a double crochet. We've been doing them all along. Yes? And then your next stitch is what, I'm going to drop my tail now so it doesn't confuse you. Your next stitch is what we call a half treble. It's yarn over, pop your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we're going to do a treble in the next one. Treble is wrapping yarn around your hook twice, all right? Pop it in the stitch, pull up a loop. You now have 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. The next stitch is your half treble again. So we've gone to the peak, we're going to go right down to the valley, okay? So pop your hook in your next stitch, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And your next is your double crochet. You know how to do that. And the next is your half double crochet. So yarn over, pop it in the space, pull up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then single crochet in that space. That is your pattern that you're going to work on throughout this whole row. However, when we start again, I would actually pop a stitch marker right there. This is only for the newbies, okay? And then, well, intermediates can do this too if they like. You're going to start the pattern again. So it's a single crochet in your next, half double in your next, double in your next, half treble in your next. Let's pop it in the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, 2. Wake up, Mary. Now your treble, yarn over twice, pop it in your next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, pull through 2, pull through 2, the last 2. And now you're doing a half treble. 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're doing a double, and then you're doing a half double. 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then you're doing your single. Okay, popping another stitch marker. All right. So why I got you to do that is because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 stitches in that set, all right? So there's got to be 9 here, starting from your next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all right? I just put those stitch markers there to help you out. It's not necessary for you to have those stitch markers, okay? It's just to help the newbies out so they know the count, all right? So single crochet in your next, half double in your next, double in your next, half treble in your next, yarn over, pull through 1, then pull through 2, and then pull through the last 2. Wrap your yarn around your hook twice to do your treble stitch. Now you're doing your half treble. Pop it in the space, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, last 2. All right, then your double, and then your half double, and then your single. And then you grab another stitch marker. I'll just pop in the orange right there. Again, for the newbies, count. Not from your stitch marker, but from your next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You should always have 9 in between. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get you to do that all the way across. I think you know what you're doing. Get to, and I'm going to take one of my stitch markers out because I don't need them in there anymore for starters. But you guys keep yours in if you're new. Okay. Well, you know the first 3 are correct. So there you go. Okay. So you probably will get to 1, 2, I think it's a 3rd last stitch or the 4th last. I can't remember now. But get to one of those stitches there, the last few stitches, and I shall meet you up. Okay. Alrighty guys, here we are. That's what you should have. And you should have maybe 3 or 4 single crochets left. I popped the stitch marker there. It doesn't matter, okay? Your corners, like I keep telling you, can be fudged that little bit. As long as you're not fudging the inside of your corner. You're allowed to fudge the sides, okay? Okay, so now you're doing your singles across. 1, 2, 3. And in that space there, you are doing 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, that's your corner space, chain 1 and 2, and 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then just move that over because there's a stitch right in there. See that stitch right there? That is 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, and now you're starting your pattern. Single crochet, half double, double, half treble, treble, yarn over twice, half treble, through the 1, and then the 2, and then the 2, double, half double, single. Pop your stitch marker in so you know where you are. And I'll just pull this up a little bit and show you what you've done on your corner. All right, let's have a look-see. All right, your corner should look like that. All right, waved in, and then that tiny little point, not a big point. If we were to put our double crochets in like we've done here, our point would be right down there. It would look okay, that's not a problem, but that doesn't really suit the next part of the pattern, all right? So what I want you to do, easy this part. So get to the last 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many stitches. I'll put down 1, 2, 3, I'll put down 4 for now. All right, so get to the next corner and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, how'd you go? That took forever. And I actually have to admit, after about doing 3 sets, I started using the stitch marker method. Seriously, I just found myself so confused. All right, so I ended up with 1, 2, 3 single crochets left. So lucky mine added up. If yours didn't, don't stress, just single crochet across. That's all you're doing. 2 and 3. Then you are jumping into your space with, what did we do before? 2 single crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now remember, see that stitch there? You're going 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to start your pattern. Single crochet, half double, double, half treble, treble, 2, 2, 2, and half treble, and double, and half double, and your single. All right, grab your stitch marker. All right, and you are going, oh sorry, you're going to pop your stitch marker in there. Don't need to count now, just for this one. Yeah. Now do your next set with your single, half double, double, whoops, and half treble. I nearly forgot then, didn't I? Treble, half treble, double, half double, single. All right, count your stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pop in that stitch marker only if you need this. I do it because you know what? I had a lot of problems. I struggled. All right, so that's me, and you may be okay with it, but I struggled. So there you go. Keep going. This is the best part, guys. Oh, go to the last 9. I don't know why. We'll just say roughly around the 9th stitch, around the 9th one, the second last one. You do, and wait for me right there. Alrighty, guys. Just a quick heads up. Yours truly has 1 extra stitch towards the end, but it doesn't matter. All right. You've got your single crochet, half double, double, half treble, treble, half treble, oops, double, or maybe I haven't, we'll see. half double. Oh, I don't think I have, come to think of it. Oh, no, I do have. And single right there. So I ended up with, let's have a look. Yeah, there is one more stitch right there. That's where that last stitch was, where all the green thread is. So I ended up with an extra single crochet, but I'm not going to worry about it. That's the slip stitch, so don't worry about that. So we're just going to slip stitch into, oh, if I can get it, the top of that stitch right there. So take out your stitch marker. This is the stitch that we are in, right here. Chaining one, nice tight chain, and then just pop a single crochet in the same stitch, popping your stitch marker right there. All right, now you're gonna love this row, trust me. It's so much better than what we've just done. All right, really all you're doing is a row of single crochets. However, when you get to your very tallest stitch, you have to do single crochet, chain 3 and single crochet. All right, so what we're going to do, we've done one single crochet there. Single in your next, 2, single in your next, 3, single in your next, 4. Okay, that's just to get you into your tallest, peakest stitch. Okay, now you are chaining 1, 2, 3 and single in the same space. And what you have is a tiny little lift there. Then single 1, this is the count you need to remember, okay, between peaks. Single 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So you're remembering exactly the 9 that we counted across. We are now counting from peak to peak. So in your 9th stitch, you are doing that single crochet, chain 1, 2, 3, and single crochet. Then you are counting 9 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, and you are doing, you've got your single crochet in the 9th one. Now you're chaining 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the same stitch, and then count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in the 9th you are doing a single crochet, chain 1, 2, 3 and single crochet. All right, I think you get the picture. I've got a knot right there, so I'm going to stop there anyway. All right, so that is what you are looking at. I mean, simply gorgeous, is it not? All right, so keep going in that manner until you get to, oh, look how close we are. Doesn't matter. Keep going until you get to the very last peak. I think that's right there. So roughly on the very last peak. When you get to your last 9th, you do single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and wait for me there. Alrighty guys, here I am at the stitch marker. Take that out. I did my single crochet in there, but I need to do my chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 and my other single crochet in the same space. Then we are single crocheting all the way down. Whoops, I'm out of frame. Sorry guys. Just keep going all the way down until you get to your last stitch before the corner. Alright, here we go. Nearly there. We got another one. Get nice and close here. We've got another one. And we've got another one. I should have counted, but doesn't matter. Alright, so you're in the corner. You're going to do your 2 single crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. so your corner doesn't change. Now move that over and single crochet all the way up to the peak. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's 9 here. We just have to check. Give me 1 second. We actually do have one more. So go into your next one. Okay, that is the peak. See, it's the tallest stitch. Chaining 1, 2, and 3, and single crochet in the same space. And then single 9 across. 1, 2, 3, being careful not to miss any. I nearly missed that one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's the peak stitch, the very tallest stitch, 9. As long as you're getting into that tallest stitch with your single crochet, chain 1, 2, 3, and single crochet, then you're good to go. So let's say for argument's sake you did mess up your count, right? And there's only 8 across until you get to your tallest. Just put the peak in your tallest. Nobody will notice 1 stitch missing unless you decide to take the whole thing undone, all right? But these are the sort of patterns when it comes to little, you know, little waves and peaks and things like that. These are the patterns that can be fudged. We'd rather not, but let's just say for argument's sake you needed to fudge it. These are the patterns that can be fudged. What have I done there? Oh dear, here we go. All right, so we're going again with the 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's your tallest right there, 9. Chain 1, 2, and 3, and single crochet in the same space. Alright, so there you go. There are your peaks. Alright, I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do it. That's ridiculous. Considering, look at the size of this row. Oh my dear, you are going to be going for it. Alright, so roughly on the very tallest stitch, I believe it's right there, just before your corner. Then get to your corner. Just do your single crochets across. Get into your corner with your 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets, and then single crochet up to the very tallest peak. Just find your tallest stitch, which I believe is right there, and pop your stitch marker in. Just in case you did mess up the chains, your single crochets across here and you've got 8 instead of 9, it doesn't matter, okay? And then just keep going all the way until you get to that infamous yellow stitch marker. And I say infamous because we are going to get there and that's it. That's all there is to it. So get to, I don't know, the last 2 single crochets and I shall meet you up. Alright, I got to that very last peak. I've taken out my stitch marker, sorry guys, but there's the stitch marker that we need to join into. I do know that we're going to go down here probably around 4 or 5 times with our single crochet. So we've done our peak, our single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and now single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to just slip stitch in there. We're going to skip all that because that's a slip stitch. So all we're going to do is slip stitch into that stitch right there, pull that loop through and pull up a loop. Now don't pull the loop through completely. I'm just going to cut that for a minute just to get it out the way. Alright, so cut it and pull it undone again because I'm going to show you another trick of how to weave in an end. I'm sorry, it's so far away. I do apologize guys, but this is the part where the trick is anyway. I haven't done the trick yet, so you haven't missed it. Alright, so the other trick is, that looks like a stitch, but it actually isn't. It was the slip stitch from the beginning. See that stitch there? We're just going to pull that loop through, like as if we haven't finished the stitch. Alright, grab your needle It's a little tricky this, but I'll do a nice close-up so you can see it. And what will happen is you won't be able to see the thread once you've done. And no, it looks like it's undone. Okay, so don't stress, it will work. See where that stitch marker is? You are popping your needle through. Oh, look what I've done. Look at that right there. What? What? That wasn't supposed to happen? We'll leave that blooper in, will we? I wasn't watching when I threaded it. I threaded it with my eyes kind of, you know, staring at the camera and not the work I was doing. Did it work this time? Yes, it did. Dearing me. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so see that stitch marker right there? You're popping your needle through the back of the stitch rather than the front. Take out the stitch marker for a minute because it'll just be in your way. All right, let's pull that through. Not all the way, just a little bit. Just going to move that thread down a bit. Now, you're going to bring your needle in through the stitch that we've just done, through the back of the stitch, but through to the actual, see that there? It kind of like split the little thing underneath, right there. Bring it down. Okay, pulling it through very gently, like so. Everything's getting pulled gently like so. Give it a gentle tug. Yes. See that little loop that it's formed? Now all you're going to do is pop your needle in through the stitch. Through, not like that though. In through that stitch there and right through to the back. Like so. Giving it a tug. And there you go. You've closed up your area and you can't see a knot. This is another way. If you want to tighten it, you can. I wouldn't. I don't want to leave it too much. Don't want to leave it pulling too much. But there you go. You have closed up your stitch. How cool is that? Then all you're doing is turning your work around and passing it through some threads through the back. Like that. Anywhere you like. Get into a spot where you can just weave in through there. Or somewhere else because that's got a lot of thread from before. I've already weaved in. So I'm going to go into the other side. I'm just going to keep moving up. You don't need to. I've just got a lot of thread there. And I want to because I used cotton. And when you're weaving in with cotton and you've already weaved in one section, it gets really super thick. So I'm just going to go into the next section, which is here. And all we're going to do is find a place where we can just weave it in through ends everywhere at the back. It doesn't matter how you weave your ends in, just get them in. And I'm just splitting yarn and going through stitches. Just make sure you don't see your needle in front, okay? And there you go. I think that's been weaved in a gazillion times, so I'm not going to do that anymore. That was my last thread, right? And have a look at the way it finished. You can't tell, I don't even know where it is now. You can't tell. Can you tell? I can't tell where it is. Was it there? I don't know now. Anyway, it's finished. So you can't even find it. I can't find it, and I know what I'm doing. So there you go. All right, guess what, guys? I'm sitting here giggling away, but this is the best bit. You're done. Your poncho is now complete. There. There you go. And it's a slight wave with a little picot kind of looking stitch. Even though it's not a picot, it looks like a picot. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Oh. Don't forget to join us live on Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. I had to think then to have a little discussion about our poncho and other future projects that we are doing. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like and share and do all those wonderful things that you usually do for me. And thank you so much for watching, guys. It's been a very long haul here doing our poncho. I'm very pleased with the outcome. I'll have a little snippet at the end with some photos or video or whatever, and you can have a look, see what it looks like on. Thank you so much for watching, and all I want to say right now, guys, is ciao for now.